Hi everyone, this is Juliana from the EFWE Fall 2019 team, and this is a video on Postman and how useful it is and how you would use it. So this is what it looks like just when you download it. Well, it doesn't look like this with all these tabs open. You can see that it's really useful because I use it a lot. So most of these right now have this instead of a localhost, the actual website as a destination, because I was testing all of these functions on the staging server. So when you want to test something on the code that's on the staging server, you would use this. This is the main part of the URL, so it's the actual URL /effort/API, okay? And this part is the one that we add to any request, and I'll explain where you get that. But this is the most important post request you're gonna do, because this is when you're gonna do, if you work a lot, you're gonna be doing this like every hour, because to do any other call, you're gonna need a token. So to create a token, I use this. You can use localhost, your localhost for effort, so it wouldn't be this address. This is the VPS address. It would be localhost. Let me see if I have one with localhost on. Well, it would be localhost, the one you have for VP and for the effort, which is I think 43008 or something. So yeah, but I recommend doing this call, since you do it so often, to the staging server, since it is really fast. So what this does is create a token. So I'm going to show you where to get this. You would get that path token represents the controller. So the controller we're using is here in the effort repository in Web API controllers, and you would have one called token controller here, and you would have all of the functions, the calls you can do in Postman or anywhere you want to test it. So there's the token part, is the name without the controller, and create is the name that is up here. So if this has no name here, it would be like this, okay? Because some of them have no name up there. It's just like empty string, so it would be just that, okay? And the body here, make sure you have it set to raw JSON. Most of these take JSON. How you know that it takes a JSON is looking at the this part, the parameters it takes. If it says from body and it's like object, could be a request object or an entity, more likely a JSON. But if you have something like this, string username, what you have to do, this is something that it's kind of like, it took me a while to understand, is just write the username here without any of this format, okay? Just do like in the username here, like that, okay? But if it says from body and it says like an object, it defines an object, then you need to do it like a JSON. And for the create, you can tell, I always go here. For the create, you can see, you can go to the actual object and see what the values are. So you can see it has a username and a password. So that's what you're going to pass in, okay? So you're going to pass a username and a password. This username and password, you can use any of the ones that are on the database. So you can use administrator, you can use trader, you can use this one. It's a special one that is the username and password for the VPS server. But yeah, You can use any of those. And the password should not be encoded, okay? If it's encoded, it's going to give you an error. So, and make sure it's in post. So if you do get, you will get, I think, I'll show you the specific error message you get, because that's something that happens a lot. Forget what if it's a post or a get, or sometimes it's a delete. So you have all those options there. Make sure that it's correct, but you will know that you make that mistake if it says method not allowed. So yeah, that's a specific error message for that. If it says 404 page not found, it's because the URL is probably wrong and it doesn't exist. And there's another specific one that tells you that the body is wrong, like a bad request. That means that your body is wrong. And if it's a 500 server error, you can check the raw HTML response to see what the exception was. So the server error usually means there was an exception in the server, and it's nothing to do with here. And also, if you get any issue with that it can't connect to the server or something, you don't have to do anything when you're using this. But when you're using localhost, you're going to have it running, because if you don't, you're going to get a server message here. But that server message also says that you have to, like, there's some stuff you can take for it to go away. So if you're using this and you get that server error, follow those steps and it will work. So you can see here that you get an access token. So this token, you're going to copy it. And with this, we're going to be able to do all the other. You can do localhost, any other one that requires a token. Okay, so how you put the token in there, I'm not going to do start terminal because that's really long, but I'm going to do maybe one that has a response. Let's see what I have. These ones are all to write to the database. Get for its login ID, that's easy. So I am going to do this one that is supposed to get an effort login based on a Forex ID. Okay, you don't really need to pay attention to that. It's just to show you how it works. And yeah, I would paste it here. So go to authorization, go to bearer token, and paste it here. Okay. And for this call, I need the Forex ID and the server name. So this is a Forex. Instead of a username, the Forex, which is the account, the demo account you have in MetaTrader. The Forex account uses these type of numbers. So I want to see what effort account this MetaTrader account is linked to. So I'm going to show you so you understand better in the database. Tables. So yeah, if you want to test functions that are already deployed, use this. But if you want to test functions that you did locally, you're going to have to use localhost. Okay, so I recommend that you test everything that you did in local, using localhost and then deploy, instead of like deploying and then testing it on the deployed site. Okay, so I'll show you how to test on localhost here, but okay, so you can see the specific Forex ID that I'm passing in corresponds to login 5. So that is the login of the user of the website. So if I go there, when I do the call, I want to get all the information pertaining to login 5, which is this one. Okay. And you may have that Forex table empty, and that's because you may not have a trader account with a Forex ID registered. So what you have to do with that is you can use the trader user that's already defined. So this one, just do trader and effort 1234, and you go to My Forex account and you add a new Forex account, okay? And that would be your local demo account that you have in MetaTrader. Yeah, so you would do all of that. And the trade server name is MetaQuotes. The password you would find in your terminal, MetaTerminal, and the same with the Forex account number. If you don't know where to find those, I explained it in the MetaTrader video. Okay, so that is what I have, and I be getting information, the login ID for this specific account. So let me send it. If it says unauthorized here, if it gives you an unauthorized error, it is because you either have no token in there, or you have a token that expires. So I told you would be using it every hour. So the token expires every hour. So you're going to be having to create new tokens and putting them all over again. So I'm going to take this number because it seems that I have maybe an old number that is not there anymore. I'm going to take that number and do this call and check that I get the information. Okay, so I get the information for the login, that it corresponds to this Forex account. So the login is 11. So that's how you test the response that you get. So right now I want to show you how to test localhost. So I'm going to test an API function in the VPS API. So you have to have the VPS API running. So set that running. And the function that I'm going to test, it's called discover terminals, and it is what when you go to the VPS management page, you can see that's what gets all of the terminals. Okay, so I'm just going to log out and show you in administrator what I'm talking about. So in order to get the terminals to show up, the effort API is going to do, sorry, that just opened. The effort API is going to do a call to this discover terminals with this as an input, and the discover terminal is going to return all of these terminals. And all of this, let me show you that, would be null, set to null. So discover terminals have nothing to do with this. All of this information is set when you click manage and you set it manually to be whatever user you want. Okay, so yeah, discover terminals just gets these names. So when I do it locally, I'm supposed to get these three. So if we look at discover terminals composition, so we can see that discover terminal is a post, and also it takes its input from the body. So we're gonna have to add the input in this body section, and then that the input is only a string. It's not an object, and it's a path. So when it's not an object, you have to just paste what it asks for right there, not do it into a JSON. So when I run this, I get this JSON response. This is a terminal that comes up. You would expect these two to come up, but it actually checks that it has that it's calling a MetaTrader, actual MetaTrader application. These two, I uninstalled the MetaTrader that came with them, so they're actually not, you can't use them. So yeah, when it says 200 OK, it means that your request didn't give any errors, but it doesn't mean that you have the correct return. So make sure to check that and to see that it has the correct return. So I'll run it in video so you can see. And you can also, if you want to go further and test, you can put a breakpoint here. And if you run it, it should stop there. Okay, so that's how you use Postman with a local host. And if you want to keep it to one, you just continue.